What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? It's the Real Housewives of Dallas. We are in season 5, episode 8. So, there's still the fight, okay? Deandra's inside talking to her husband, and now it's let's talk to Tiffany about all the things she's been doing wrong. So they told her all the things they didn't like about her party, which some of it I agree with. Like, you don't be going to nobody's house and they talking about something, it's gonna be a verbal warning if y'all are mean to each other. Girl, go sit down. But I didn't think it was rude for her to have a time for y'all to leave her house, cause I'd be ready for people to leave. Okay? If I say the party is from 6 to midnight, at midnight we flicking the lights and it's time to go home. Sorry. Then this whole thing with Cameron. This is what I'm gonna say about that. I didn't think Tiffany was wrong at all. Cameron, if you are, and she made up a good point. She said, listen, if you're using a word incorrectly, I thought you would want somebody to correct you so you're not out here sounding crazy. But because Cameron, you do say stuff a lot of times that's wrong. You use words incorrectly, you mispronounce words, you don't know what words mean. And sometimes you get offended by something, and then when you find out what it really meant, you be like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, oh. And so I don't think Tiffany was wrong for correcting you when you use a word incorrectly or you don't know what a word means, especially when it is important to the conversation at hand. But you don't want her to correct you because she said, well, it just means I feel like she's talking down to me. No, she's just correcting your dumb ass. That's all I'm saying. Because some of the stuff you don't know, Cameron, I'm like, I know you went to some expensive finishing schools because we know you grew up with a little bit of scratch. So either you was just pushing through to get through to find you a rich husband. Because some of the stuff you don't know, let's just be clear, you should. And Tiffany ain't wrong for correcting you. Moving on. And Tiffany was like, well, at this point now, I just feel like a whack-a-mole. I feel like everybody's just dumping on me. I'm just wrong. I can't get anything right, But, they talked about it. It was what it was. Deandra decides that she's going to stay, but she's not going to come back out that night. And Cameron actually goes to talk to Deandra. And Deandra, she agrees to talk to Deandra. She agrees that Carrie. She agrees the next day that, she'll be open to a conversation with Carrie or whatever. So the next morning they get up and they have a boat ride planned. They go out, and it was a real nice boat. Real nice, like a luxury boat. It had like a hot tub on it and everything. And it was really, really nice. Now we start off the day with, we find out that Cameron and Brandy stayed up all night just getting drunk as hell. I mean, they partied like it was 1999, okay? And then we had like a little hula hoop exercise. I skipped that too, my bad. They had a little hula hoop exercise, and that was cool and fun, and, it was what it was, and the ladies all had a good time and bonded. Then we went on the boat ride, child. Then we went down to the boat ride. And on the boat ride, we found out that Brandy had some motion sickness pills. Now, the pills, she had given them motion sickness pills coming down, and those were the ones you just put under your tongue, they dissolve, and they work. Well, on the boat, Tiffany asked Brandy if she had the motion sickness pills. Brandy gave them to everybody, and she was like, oh, you just put them under your tongue and they dissolve. But these were the different ones. These were the ones you just actually take like a regular pill. And Tiffany was like, oh, these aren't the same ones you had on the bus. Oh, that's right. You don't put these under your tongue. No. Well, Brandy got really sensitive and was like, I just feel like you were trying to say I'm giving out meds, and I'm just giving away drugs, and I'm just giving out pills. And Tiffany was like, girl, I'm not trying to say you a drug dealer. Like, what are you talking about? And Stephanie was like, listen, Brandy is just a little oversensitive around Tiffany because she still feels some kind of way about the whole thing that happened last year with her making the comments about the Asian people, okay? And she don't feel comfortable. She doesn't know what she can and can't say around Tiffany. She doesn't know what's going to offend Tiffany, what's not. And so I don't know how in the world you got offended or you took from what Tiffany said that Tiffany think you a drug dealer. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know where that came from. Okay, I don't even know where that came from. Then we had Cameron and Deandra do an exercise where they ended up talking to each other, and they ended up crying and making up, and life is life, and they apologized, and oh, I want you to be there for me, and I wanted you to be there for me, and okay, great, we made up, cause child. Um, so Brandy ends up having a conversation with, I believe it was Cameron, and it wasn't Tiffany, because Tiffany won't there, and she was talking about how uncomfortable she feels around Tiffany, and how she thinks that Tiffany is uncomfortable around her, and she feels some kind of way about it, and she's not sure what she can talk to Tiffany about, what she can't talk to Tiffany about. And Stephanie is like, listen, Brandy is just a little sensitive about everything that happened, and y'all just need to talk. Y'all just need to talk, and y'all need to figure out a way to sort of work it out, talk through it. But this is definitely a Brandy issue, not a Tiffany issue, because Tiffany already told you that she was cool. Y'all talked about it, and she had moved on. So this is Brandy holding on, because Brandy, whatever. Oversensitive or overly sensitive, I guess is what they're saying. So they get back to the house that night, and Cameron has planned a prank, because we know that Brandy has always pranked her whenever they go on their little trips. And so they go out and they cooking s'mores, after dinner and stuff. And she has one of the guys that work there to come out like the Chainsaw Massacre. And it was cool. Like, she did actually scare the hell out of everybody. I mean, Stephanie says she pissed her pants. Tiffany says she did more than piss her pants. I mean, she actually did scare the hell out of these women, okay? And it was cute because, again, she's been trying to get back at Brandy and them for years. So I'm here for it that she was able to get her child. She was able to get back at Brandy and all that good stuff. So they end up going to bed. Everything is everything. So the next day, they're getting up and they're having breakfast. And it's a free day. So they can kind of do whatever they want to do. So Tiffany, Cameron, and Stephanie end up going on a hike. Excuse me. And they actually really bond over, Cameron and Stephanie bond over the fact that they're stay-at-home moms and how they're at a point where they want to do more. Stephanie is like, listen, I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I was a stay-at-home mom, or I am a stay-at-home mom. But I want more now. Like, I love my husband. He provides a really good life for us. So I'm not gonna question that at all. But I really do. I just want a little bit more. And Cameron was expressing her frustration with, like, how Cord doesn't really tell her everything, like even going back to the house, and how he doesn't really tell her everything and open up to her. And Tiffany was like, well, you know what? I want what y'all have. Like, I'm trying to just reduce my workload at this point, because, I do work, 5 days a week, and I feel like I'm missing out, and I feel like I'm an absentee mom, and I'm not being the best mom for my girls. So they sort of bonded, and Stephanie even said this was a really good moment for us, because I got to see another side of Tiffany. Now, Tiffany, you are a little braggadocious. That's one of the things that they don't like, that you have to mention. Tiffany's one of those people that's like, oh, my Hermes scarf, I need to take it off. Oh, my Tiffany bracelet. Oh, my Birkin bag that costs $30,000. Like, she is one of those people. And see, this ain't that crowd. Like, maybe that's a Beverly Hills thing, but this ain't that crowd. They don't really get into all of that, Now, Brandy, Deandra, and Cameron stayed back at the house, and they had a moment to bond, because Deandra actually asked Carrie, well, what is going on with your kids? Like, you mentioned you had some stuff going on with your kids, and Carrie was able to share with Deandra what she had going on with her kids and her daughter, who's dealing with some mental health issues that we talked about before. So they were able to bond on that, and then Deandra was able to open up to Carrie about what's going on with her brother, how she reached out to him, and he hasn't responded to her letter. And my thing is, now you realize that, yes, we all have a lot going on in our lives. Like, all of us have things that's going on in our lives. One isn't more important than the other, but in friendship, sometimes it goes back and forth like that. Sometimes you might feel like, hey, this person only cares about them, and they're not telling me what's going on with them, and they're not opening up, or that kind of thing. But sometimes you have to listen and understand that it's not always that. Everybody's not one-sided in that way. So they sit down for dinner, and everybody's dressed up, and they look nice and everything. And Brandy goes to talk to Tiffany about, do you feel uncomfortable around me? And Tiffany was like, no. Do you feel uncomfortable around me? And that's sort of where the episode ended. But so I guess next week we're going to get this whole conversation about Brandy and Tiffany and how Brandy feels. You know, again, a lot of it goes back to Brandy sort of feeling guilty in her own way with everything that went down. And now, you know, we got this Asian cast member that you have to sort of deal with what you did or didn't do. I don't know. We'll wait and see how that conversation goes next week. So as you can see, this episode wasn't really a whole lot. You know, the ladies are just on vacation. But we'll see how it works out. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.